Hello, everybody. My name is Bill. Welcome back to the NCAA Football 2007 Dynasty Mode explanations. We are continuing the off-season evaluations, and for this week, we are on the Big 12, at least the Big 12 North. Next will be the Big 12 South, which I will easily get to at the earliest tomorrow on the day I'm recording this, at the latest next weekend when I'm recording this. So either way, it's going to be coming soon. But anyways, with the Big 12 North, as you can see, we've got our normal 6 teams like we did with the ACC. Here we got Colorado, Missouri, Kansas State, Nebraska, Iowa State, and Kansas. So we got 2 states in the North, and yet only 1 state in the South. A little bit of a joke there, but anyways, the top team of the Big 12 North that represented the North in the Big 12 Championship, where they failed to win. As there we go. Trying to make the screen a bit smaller so that way it's when I'm looking down the script, it's not just going all the way down. Yeah, the team that won the North is Colorado. They finished 10-4. Their best win was in week 5 against Missouri by a final score of 42-21. And their worst loss happened to be in week 13 against Nebraska 38-7. They have a great rushing attack. They need to work on their passing though, because rushing they were in the top 15. Passing wise though, they were like bottom of the league. And if you're one to be able to stay successful, you can't just be one-dimensional when it comes to certain stuff. My thoughts is the Buffs have one of the best rushing games in the nation. They could have beaten Texas in the Big 12 championship if they had a great passing attack as well. They had a decent defense that does need some work, but should be a small fix. I do see them being champions of the conference sometime in the future, maybe even next season. Just update the passing, and you'd be good. Next is Missouri, who finished the year 10-3, and they are number 11 in the top 25 polls. If you want to take a full look at the top 25 polls, please go back to the ACC episode, because I'm not willing to do that every single time I fire up an episode. Their best win, their best dominant win, I say, was week 2 against TCU, 49-7. Their worst loss came in week 6 to Tampa Bay, 44-21. They got a great defense, a good offense. They were the most efficient team in the conference as well. But their improvements is the same thing I put for Iowa last week, is that they need to keep the momentum on their side when they go through a tough loss. Like, I think they lost to Colorado first, which that's one thing, but then the next week losing to Tampa Bay, like that bad. Yeah, they lost to Colorado, and then the next week they lose to Tampa Bay. Like, they just let that losing momentum get to them. My thoughts are Missouri is a great team. They could have won the Big 12 North, but a 3-game slump caused them to be not much of a factor when it comes to the championship. I just say they don't need to be caught up in the losses, and the Big 12 championship is theirs. They'll be champs in no time. Now on to Kansas State, who finished the year 9-4. Their best win was a Week 9 victory over Texas Tech, 56-14. And their worst loss came against Missouri, 21-3. They have a nice offense, but they need a better defense and also a few more wins in conference play. Kansas State does have a good offense, but the defense needs to hold up because defense wins championships. And heck, I faced this team my first year of this dynasty too, so they have what it takes to be able to get to the big game. Thing is, can they be able to bounce back though? Well, Big 12 does have a, they need a defense that will hold up, especially in conference play, because the Big 12 has a lot of great offenses. And they need a lot of help on defense to have them be in the best of the Big 12 again. They made it to the national championship game like it's at 2 years ago in this dynasty. First year I did this. And they need to have that same attitude then as they should have had this year. Now we go from a team that I faced off in the national championship to a team that I faced in the regular season. I'll grant I didn't put my dominance over them as their worst loss, because it was early enough in the season where they could have at least bounced back a good bit for Nebraska. Their best win came in Week 5 against Kansas by a final score of 45-7. Their worst loss was in Week 7 to Tampa Bay. It was a close one, 42-38. Now, of course, me mentioning Tampa Bay a lot, you might think that they win the Big 12. But no, it was Texas over Colorado in that championship game, like we discussed. Nebraska, my bad. Nebraska does have tons of talent, but they just need to perform better. Nebraska had the chance to be a real force in the Big 12, but they highly underperformed with the talent they had. Like, the talent they had, they went 11-2, I want to say, last year. And their only loss was to Colorado because they probably rested up everybody. And Colorado didn't have a chance to win the Big 12 North like they did this year. They go from like an 11-2 record to 7-6. Like, that's something they really need to fix. So that way they can be able to hopefully be in contention next year. They also need a lot of recruiting because they have a lot of people leaving, and they need to be better than they were this year. Otherwise, they will be in mediocrity for a while. Right, by the looks of it, they gave up the most points in the Big 12. That's partially due to the fact that they faced. Yeah, they gave up the most points in the Big 12. Like I said, that's probably because of the fact that they faced me. And then, alright, so we go from a team that underperformed to a team that's starting to be on the rise a bit. Because this second straight year they've gone up a win, because they finished the first year I did this, I want to say 2-10, and then the next year 3-9. So yeah, they're on the rise for Iowa State. 4-8, best win Week 9 against Kansas, 45-17. And he allowed 10 more points than Nebraska did. Their worst loss was Week 7 as well, but they went up against Colorado 42-7. They look young and they got good defense that's on the rise. They just need to get a better offense because this is the Big 12. Offenses are on the craze. It ain't like the Big 10 that we discussed last week where we had. We'll even go and take a little look. Yeah, it ain't like we got very few teams that gave up even 200, like 300 points. All the teams that were in, a good number of the teams that were in contention gave up less than 300. Only team that was still in somewhat contention was Michigan, but that's because of the fact they faced up off against me. But yeah, this is Big 10, not the Big 12. This Big 12, not the Big 10. We need a good offense to balance that good defense, I say the Cyclones are a team on the rise, but it's all in the training and on how they do. I say they need to hopefully improve well because they got a young team, got a good couple of recruits from last year, and they got a sophomore quarterback that looks like he's going to be taking over next year and going to be a junior. Probably going to be up in the 90s for his overall. So he's going to play a real factor into that whole overall situation. I feel like they might be a team to keep my eye on for the next few years. And now, here's a team that I feel like I should, that we've talked about a couple of times on this channel in the bottom 10, the Kansas Jayhawks. They finished 1-11, and their only win came back in Week 7 against Middle Tennessee State, 45-10. And out of their 11 losses, their worst one came at Week 8 at number 3 Oklahoma, 56-7. And no, Baker Mayfield was not on this team yet. Even if it were, this was virtual 2008, they'd have Adrian Peterson. So yeah, Adrian Peterson just ran all over him. I'd say the only grit I could see is that they are a young team. Like, they have a lot of freshmen, like 37 odd freshmen. But they just need to improve on everything. Like, they probably got the lowest points out of all the Big 12. Yeah, they are 100 points behind Texas Tech. So, yeah, they just need to improve on offense, on defense, because they allowed nearly 500 points. Nebraska did the same thing, but just struck the 238 I scored on them. They did pretty decent on defense, you know. And my thoughts with Kansas. Let me just get this all the way back down to Kansas. There we go. Kansas was bottom 10 about the entire year, and there are only two teams to finish 1-11. The other being San Jose State, which we will have a little bit of fun talking about them when we get to them in a few weeks' time, at most maybe a month or two. And they need to hopefully improve. Like I said, they have a young team. They just need to be able to get the training, and hopefully they could improve and win a few more games. You know, they have a young team, but hopefully they can be better in the coming years. If not, then enjoy seeing them in the bottom 10 more often. And I think they're the only team in the Big 12 that constantly appeared in the bottom 10, because Texas Tech, as you can see, they went 2-6 in conference play, 4-8 overall. Yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun talking about the South next time around. But until then, I will see you all next time.